Hi everyone, I was asked to do a session on how to have a successful first 2 years as a teacher. I was actually pushing for how to be a successful head teacher, but we seem to have come to a compromise. In this, I'm going to speak about 8 major tips. I've tried to think outside the box and not just repeat the same ones you would have heard or read about before. So who am I, first of all? Well, I'm Samir Richards. I'm Luton born and bred, but like most teenagers in Luton, saw the possibility of getting away from Luton for a bit and away from my mum, sorry mum, too good to turn down, so shot off 200 kilometres away to Manchester for my BA. I read history and politics there before going on to do my PGC at Manchester Met. I had an absolutely fantastic time in Manchester. My training was led by the amazing Louise Quinn and Karen Duffy. But despite the training and the year being incredible, I just knew that I wasn't ready to going into teaching full time. And that just takes me into my first tip. Taking a year break could have been really risky, but it was the best thing I could have possibly done. I travelled Southeast Asia and Australia, and when I came back I joined Challney High School for boys and found an enthusiasm for the profession. It was a jump. I was surrounded by incredible practitioners, but don't let that jump from training to NQT phase you. They give you the title of newly qualified teacher for a reason. You're being shown the ropes, and that's all right. Use those experts, observe them, and learn from them. Which leads me on nicely to my colleague Tina, who is an incredible geography teacher at the school, and she is going to speak about using a support network.
Hi, my name is Tina Niglose and I'm one of the geography teachers at Challney High School for Boys, which is based in Luton and a part of the Chiltern Training Group. Now, before I became a teacher, I did start off as a TA within the school, working with a wide range of students and members of staff, both teaching and non-teaching. I believe this role guided me in communicating effectively with both students and other members of staff, but it also helped me build a confidence with the teaching cohort, which guided me in being able to approach them confidently for assistance and guidance. This leads me on to my first tip: get to know the body of the school. Now, by this I mean, of course, know your department, know the people you're working with in your subject area, but branch out to other members of staff, other departments within the school. You'd be surprised by the wealth of knowledge you can pick up. You start to build your skills in behaviour management, in praising, in challenging students. By having these skills available, you start to develop your teaching methods, you start to develop your teaching skills. Being able to have that additional relationship as well, you're able to go and observe other classrooms, see how they're incorporating fun and interactive activities into the lesson. You get to see what works and what doesn't work for you, how in communication with students can make or break a situation. Being able to observe as teachers, you get to see the students in those classrooms, in those subjects, from your English to your maths, your science, your PE lessons. Observing these lessons, you get to see how the students are linking the learning in that classroom into your own classroom, building that interleaving kind of curriculum. I hope this helps. All the best.
Tip 2 is related to finding the values and vision of your school, and not just thinking about them during your interview, because we all know we will be asked about the values and vision of the school at interview, but actually adopting those values and vision whilst you're at that school. On our website, the Challney High School for Boys website, it says the care and commitment we show to our students and the wider community. Our school is massive on charity. It isn't situated in the most affluent of areas, but the community we serve is the most giving I have ever seen. Within the first year of joining the school, there was an incredible amount of money raised for sports relief. In my NQT year, there was a food bank initiative, and I tried to get as involved as I could, but still only came third with my form, despite raising over 700 tins of food. They actually raised an incredible 11,000 in the end. I saw this as what our school was about, so I volunteered to do the sports day drink sale for Luton and Dunstable Hospital helipad appeal. Volunteered on leading the student voice with non-uniform days, bringing in a competitive side and making it a house competition, which raised more money than ever and raised over £1,300 for the hospital helipad appeal again. And I worked with Mr. Arvid Khan, our safeguard lead, on the initiative of the Wrap Up Losing Coat campaign, which appealed for unused adult coats for the homeless, which got over 770 coats going to an incredible cause. Not to mention, Ofsted actually viewed the assembly where we promoted this initiative to the students. and liked it so much came to view it the second day, which I haven't actually let my senior leadership team forget. Your school will have a vision, and with that vision will be opportunities. Try to seek them out and get involved right away. My third tip is related to the school improvement plan. Read it and use your senior leadership team. I think I'm extremely lucky because my senior leadership team is so supportive. They're all open to ideas and they lead by example. You see the head teacher going out and picking up litter at break time, which surprised me when I first joined the school, but if you know Daniel, wouldn't really surprise you at all. Essentially though, this tip is related to if you have an expertise or passion, see if there's a hole in your school improvement plan and fill it. It may even be talked about on the school improvement plan, and that's even better. My one was. My degree is in history and politics, and for some reason or another, I do love politics. In our school, our improvement plan, it stated we need more democracy teaching in our school. My head teacher approached me after I had shown keen interest and asked me if I'd like to set up a student voice and a GCSE citizenship department. This was only halfway through my NQT year, but I was absolutely delighted to do so. Using a senior leadership team, essentially the senior leadership team has helped me so much by encouraging CPD in school and outside of it. Go to them with ideas. The worst thing they will say is, I'll suggest it at the senior leadership meeting. This leads me on nicely to Will, who's going to speak about taking yourself out of your comfort zone.
Hi, I'm Will Lowson. I've just completed my second year of teaching. I'm currently head of house here at Challney Boys. Today I'm going to give one important piece of advice to new teachers which will hopefully help you make a successful start in your teaching career. For me, I believe the most important piece of advice I can give to any new teacher is making sure you expose yourself to any areas of improvement that you might have. What I mean by that is anything that you find difficult or anything you need to improve on, don't avoid doing it. Naturally, everyone does this because they are not confident in whatever they may be looking to do. Working on these areas of improvement will most definitely take you out of your comfort zone. Most of us really enjoy being in our comfort zone because it feels great, but nothing ever grows when you're in there. The area of improvement for me personally, and probably still is speaking in front of a large group of people. Now that feels very weird saying that as a teacher, right? But I know out there's loads of people who really do struggle talking to colleagues and hosting things such as assemblies in front of large groups of people. It really terrified me. Within my first year at Chiltern, I really wanted to make sure I was exposed to speaking in front of large audiences. During February of my first year, I put myself forward to be the lead on the sports relief. This involved me making several announcements in whole school staff briefings and also leading on house assemblies. This put me out of my comfort zone, helping me to develop my confidence with the added bonus of working on a project with whole school impact. Through working on sports relief, I then felt confident in applying for a head of house role that come up in December of my second year of teaching. When I applied for this, I knew that I'd be leading house meetings and assembly for my house each week if I was successful. Putting myself out of my comfort zone, in my opinion, is one of the best things that I did in my first year of teaching. Within the last couple of weeks, I've identified one or two areas for improvement which I'm going to look to work on next year. So to summarise, if you're watching this and you feel like you have areas for improvement, which most of us will do, have a think about how you can put yourself in that situation to help develop whatever that might be. And most importantly, try not to avoid it. Thank you for listening.
When you're a new teacher, it is easy to use your safety net, but explore the idea of getting out of that safety net safely. Tip 4 is related to subject knowledge, and on this point I'm going to have my colleague in science speak, Zainal.
Hi everyone, my name is Zainal Hawk and I'm currently the Key Stage 3 Science Coordinator at Challney High School for Boys. Today I'll be sharing with you some things I've learned about the importance of subject knowledge since the start of my teaching career. In 2014 Chiltern Trust report, What Makes Great Teaching, identified subject knowledge as one of the highest ranked components of high quality teaching. And that comes as no surprise because if teachers fail to have sufficient or deep knowledge of their subjects, it could be detrimental to the students for their learning and creates a risk of low attainment. Subject knowledge is far more than just having some contextual or expert knowledge on the topics you are teaching. Securing knowledge underpins success on a number of teaching standards such as TS2, 4, 5 and 6. Secure subject knowledge is the route to having a strong understanding about the metacognition of pupils and applying strategies in the classroom to accurately assess work and provide feedback. To give you more of a personal account, my educational background implies that my specialisms in regards to science are mainly biology and chemistry. This was one of the challenges that I faced during my training year, as I had a noticeable difference in the quality of teaching between the lessons I felt most confident about versus the ones where I felt least confident due to the lack of content knowledge. Therefore, I'd spent some time developing and enhancing my own knowledge for physics by attending CPD courses, engaging in wider reading related to physics, participating in online seminars, as well as, very importantly, familiarising myself with exam specifications and mark schemes. I would also encourage delving into technology for learning students use in your subjects, as these resources are also brilliant for practitioners. These are just a few examples of some of the things you can do in order to impart knowledge and deliver effective lessons. It's also important to note that there is no shame in doing this. Often teachers are afraid to admit gaps in knowledge. However, taking action enhancing knowledge will only not benefit you, but also your pupils. Through my observation of others, the lessons I've been most inspired by are the ones where teachers are truly passionate about what they're teaching and show high level of expertise when delivering content. The most effective practice involves a teacher using their knowledge to enhance the learning of their pupils. This also helps to foster a love of learning and even inspires them to pursue some of those subjects in further education. So to summarise, although effective pedagogy and knowing how to teach is vital for great teaching, it is just as important for teachers to have a secure subject knowledge for high quality teaching and having a great impact on pupil outcomes. Thank you very much.
I really agree with Zainal here, and the only thing I have to add is planning lessons. Some of the best CPD I have got is from planning all the GCSE history lessons for my department, and played a key role in changing the Key Stage 3 history curriculum. By making lessons and reading up on academic texts surrounding the topic, it has made me a much better practitioner. Tip 5 is related to Twitter. You can't be an educator without Twitter. Follow the education community and get involved. James Fitzgibbons, he's a resource king. He's obviously a history expert, but he can be used for any topic at all. Hannah Cusworth is a history expert again. She's been so good to listen to about implementing a diverse curriculum. Samir Richards, his curriculum video really enlightened me. And finally, Will Bailey-Watson, who our history department have actually taken his ideas on for our homework, meanwhile elsewhere. There'll be loads more who aren't history specific. Twitter is an incredible place for educators. They share resources, debate, and even if you don't want to particularly get involved, it's a great place to float ideas and even better, steal ideas. 6 is about the relentless follow-up. I'm going to let Usman, my head of house, to speak on the importance of the follow-up here.
Hi everyone, my name is Usman Ali. I'm a teacher of computing and head of house at Chiltern High School for Boys. I'd just like to share with you guys a couple of tips on how to have a successful start to your teaching career. When I first started teaching, my mentor told me 2 words that have stuck by me ever since my training year, and those 2 words were follow up. When you're a new teacher, you're a new face to students, and you're in a new environment where you've got a new classroom, new school maybe, lots of different new students and new faces that you're going to see every day. And students will notice that you're a new teacher, and they will try and see how far they can push the boundaries or what your boundaries are. And going back to those 2 words of follow-up, when it comes to students, let's say you have a behavioural issue and you've issued a after-school detention or restorative conversation with the student, and they've chosen not to come to that detention. The most important thing is that you follow it up. We might get in the mindset, because we're so busy as teachers, especially when you're new teachers, so much things going on, that you think, I'll just let this one slip. But when that happens, the students realise that, and they pick up on that, and they realise that if you can let it slip once, you might let it slip again. So following up that first time and making sure you're always following up at the beginning is really important. It will be really tiring at the first few months, and the first few months are the most challenging. But once you've put your routines in place and the students see that you're relentless, then you have a much easier time as the year goes on. On the other hand, obviously, we also have some fantastic students, and rewarding students is really important. So in our classes, we'll have some eager students who are really keen to get rewarded. So it's really important that we also reward them and we follow up on rewards. So things like achievement points, postcards, depending on what your school's reward policy is, please make sure you follow that up. And secondly, if you do come to a stage now where you think, okay, I need to call parents, don't promise students that you're going to call parents and then not follow that, because that's probably one of the most important things that is for a child, that their parents know how well they're doing in school. So on both hands, so make sure you follow up the negative behaviour and make sure you also follow up the positive behaviour, because that's the key. And as you build relationship with parents and students see that you're calling home and you're rewarding positive behaviour, that helps with the classroom management as a whole. And just finally, following up is important, but also having someone you can seek advice from and someone that you can go to as a mentor is really important. So find someone within your school. It doesn't have to be in your department. It could be a senior leader, it could be a middle leader, it could be even another member of staff. It could be anyone that you're comfortable with. Find someone that you're comfortable with and go to them when you need advice, when you need help. Because follow-up is one thing, but sometimes when you don't know how to follow up, you need someone to help you out. Just finally, the last point that I'd like to make is good luck with the teaching career. I mean, it's a fantastic career to go into, and it'll be lots of fun. Take care.
I agree with Usman. In my classroom, I have Richard's Rockstars. Forgive me for the name. I choose one student from every class each week for a positive phone call. I make sure I make that phone call. It shows what you mean, what you say. Being a teacher means that most likely you're going to have a form group, and to be a great form tutor, I think those relentless routines are also vital. For example, in our school, a behaviour point is logged on Sims and the class teacher deals with it. However, on my own accord, I also give it a 20-minute sanction to anyone in my form who gets one. That sanction will be held that next day. However, if the student comes and finds me at the end of that same day that they get it, it'll be 10 minutes instead. These things are strict, but it's already developed a whole atmosphere of trust and honesty. The student wants to find me to own up to their behaviour rather than being told about it in the form the next day. It's a nice way to also have a sanction lesson. Look, you've already owned up to that, you've made a mistake, and that's really positive. Well done. Now what can we do next time to make sure you don't have to see me at all? I absolutely love being a form tutor, and building those relationships really help. Tip 7 is about behaviour as well. Be proactive and not reactive. Do your duties. If you're not signed up for any, volunteer. Go out and walk about the school and show your face. It is so important to have a positive relationship with your students. It is without doubt the best behaviour management technique, and so why not go out, chat and smile when they're at lunch. There is one boy with a hard man reputation in school, but we get along like a house on fire because I played football with him on the playground in my first week at Challney. Now he thinks I'm safe. Turn up to football and cricket matches. It's not hard. It takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your day. It doesn't take much time and the kids will appreciate it. We have 3 school rules at Challney: ready, respectful, safe. These are of course adopted by Paul Dix. They work in every circumstance. Showing yourself to be relentless outside of the classroom helps you inside the classroom. Tip 8. On this, I'm going to have Emma speak. Emma is someone I trained with, so I know just how good a practitioner she is.
My biggest piece of advice for NQTs is to try to be reflective of your practice. One way in which you can do this is through your NQT meetings. You're supposed to have these maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, and it's a really good opportunity for you to sit down with your mentor and discuss the things that have gone well and maybe haven't gone so well. Really important to come prepared to these meetings so that you can effectively come up with strategies and techniques to try to develop your teaching practice. Another way that you can be reflective is through observations. So you'll have formal observations, but actually I think informal observations can be a really effective tool. The school that I work in now encourages open door policies so that teachers kind of pop into each other's classrooms, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, and then give feedback about things that they liked about the lesson or things that they think maybe could have been improved on. This is a low stakes form of observation. You're not being graded on it. It gets you used to other people being in your classroom, and it gives you really that time at the end of your lesson to think about what went well and maybe what didn't go so well. If this isn't something that your school already has in place, then maybe that's something that you could encourage them to do, or you could just do it with other NQTs or teachers in your department. The last piece of advice that I would give is to make sure that you're being reflective of the positive things in your classroom as well. It's very easy to get bogged down with things that you could have done better, but actually it's important to take a minute and really appreciate the things that you've done that week that you're proud of or that have gone really well. Reflection helps your professional growth, and naturally, if you look at ways to improve this, then you will improve.
Again, every school is different and every NQT will have a different experience. Your first year and even second year is a time in which you should be constantly reflecting and using that time effectively, as Emma said. In your first 2 years, keep your evidence folders in good check. It helps you to be organised, but remember, it's supposed to be a way of showing off what you have done. With the new framework, pay particular attention to the early career framework reforms, as it is completely new coming into this year. Be aware of what is required of you to pass that NQT year. I'm just going to finally finish on this quote from Dylan William. In the classrooms of the best teachers, students learn at twice the rate they do in the classrooms of average teachers. They learn in 6 months what students taught by the average teacher take a year to learn. And in the classrooms of the least effective teachers, the same learning will take 2 years. Moreover, in the classrooms of the most effective teachers, students from disadvantaged backgrounds learn just as much as those from advantaged backgrounds. And those with the behavioural difficulties learn as much as those without. That is why, as Michael Barber says, the quality of a country's education system cannot exceed the quality of its teachers. This is a lot of pressure, especially in your first 2 years. By hopefully using the techniques I have and my colleagues have talked about, you'll have a successful first 2 years. We can change lives as educators, and what more can we want than that?